so this idea, you painted the picture of like coming into from this other place. And I think about this a lot. And to some degree, it gives me a lot of anxiety. It's probably the source of anxiety in my life. And it's uh, not something that I give a ton of energy to because of that, but it's definitely an area that I'm aware of.
Mm.
Thinking about that space before you are, what comes to mind for you? Like pre-existence.
Oh God.
Yeah, I told you, hey, you took us. So here we are.
What gives me comfort is to think that I'm just going to come back and do it all again in a different form, and so it takes the pressure of having to have it all figured out, or having to get it all right, or having to live a perfect life. Like a lot of the religious texts kind of were set up on this idea of you need to be perfect and you need to get it right, and that puts a lot of pressure and anxiety on people.
Mhm.
Whereas if I have the belief, which I do have the belief, is I'm going to come back in a different form, I can do my thing at the moment, and I can live a life that's true for me. Again, the internet has opened my eyes up to a million different
Right.
things I could do, and part of the challenge is to focus in on a few things that feel important and meaningful to me, and I'll get to hopefully experience it in a different way again in the future. One of my teachers, Caroline Mace, who's an amazing lady, talks about, it's kind of a weird example, but she was saying she's in her 60s or 70s, I'd say, and she does a lot around this soul contracts idea. And she said she's very aware of the fact that in this lifetime she's not supposed to be a mother. She said it's not part of her path for this.
Mhm.
She's a teacher. She said that's her primary thing. But she was talking about how many women she meets that, because society has said, you know, all your friends are getting married, all your friends are having kids, they put this huge pressure on themselves, and they haven't made peace with maybe in this lifetime. Now, I know that's going to be a challenging people thing for people to hear in some regard, but for me at least, it gives me peace to think that maybe I'll be a father in this life, maybe I won't, maybe I'll be a really successful businessman in it, maybe I won't. But if I follow my truth and I listen to that deeper part that we talked about earlier, I think I'm going to have a meaningful and authentic life, and that's the most important thing.
How do you bolster those beliefs? How do you know that those sentiments are not another example of masking over something that's otherwise uh, challenging to think about?
Hmm. Maybe they are.
Yeah, no, that's the
um,
honest. Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that because I think that's honest.
yeah, I get a lot of comfort from those. Yeah, for me, that's a lot of it is taking the pressure off, because
Mhm.
we talked a lot about conditioning and like our childhood conditioning here, but obviously the other part of the conditioning is the societal conditioning of, oh, am I where I'm supposed to be by a certain age? Am I keeping
Yeah.
up with the Joneses? Am I all this kind of stuff? And for me, that feels very ego based. It's like
Hmm.
trying to keep up, whereas go this kind of idea of listening a little bit deeper for me feels a bit more. Mm, for me, it's like I've recognized that I'm a unique expression, you're a unique expression. It doesn't make sense to just go and do what everyone else is doing because everyone else is doing it.
Right.
So I think of that as soul.
It's hard. I struggle with like sometimes I feel like we're given by design, we have this ability to think, to really think about things, right? To sit down and I to this end, I feel like our stimulation pulls us pretty far away from this, right? Whether it's online, in apps, going to see events, whatever it is, there's a lot of opportunities to pull yourself away from silence, to pull yourself away from sitting with yourself and thinking about life and thinking about the condition that we have. But the fact that we can think about it is the push I feel every once in a while to let it run and see, what kind of draws at me. And I always struggle with things around existence or beliefs because there's something special about them in that there's not a proof, right? Like
Mm.
a belief system, not all belief systems have a proof that you can reference. It's an internal thought. It's something that you, Pat, can go through based on your life experience, and you can decide about where things align with your values and how you see the world. And we all get to do that. I think that's super special. And it's scary when you start to dig into some of those, if they do or don't fall apart. And I kind of admire when I see people that do have hard set beliefs or this idea of like the contracts. that's something you've thought about a
Mm.
while, you know, and it means something to you. And it's also something that you can hang your person on, and you can act from that. And
Mm.
I'm always curious when I hear people's different versions of what those are, because it seems powerful to me, but it's something that I always struggle with on a personal level.
Mm. I think the contracts piece has given me comfort because it's a sense of I don't have to change the people in my life or the experiences of my life. I need to change how I approach them.
Hmm.
So, the difficulty of going through a breakup, for example, uh, if I bring it back to my contracts idea, I can say, well, maybe myself and this person's contract in this lifetime was to learn how to end a relationship cleanly and on good terms, or maybe it was
Yeah.
to learn how to walk away when your boundaries have been overstepped, or um, lots of different things like that. Anything that comes up, it's kind of like, I wonder what life is trying to teach me. My ego's got a million ideas of how this should look, but it doesn't look that way. So what is life giving me? And what I did this weird meditation last week. I was in France doing a body work training, and I was sat out in the grass, and there was a bunch of people around, and I started just tuning into like I'm in this field and there's 100 people here and there's a bunch of trees and there's like so much going on out there that is not me. So like I'm a very,
Yeah.
very small part of life, and
Yeah.
and sometimes we make impersonal things personal. We make the idea of a breakup, this really thing, oh, it's broke my ego, it's messed me up, or I get rejected from a job, and I think I'm the center of the universe, and it's for me
Yeah.
it's nice to just be like, well, I'm a tiny part of
Right.
this, and, like
All we are is dust in the wind kind of view.
yeah.
Yeah. It's have you ever